Hello and welcome to Merryweather Knitting. My name is Gabriella and I'm coming to you from my home in Germany, where I'm so excited to chat with you today about knitting and sewing and making and just to catch up with you. I am in the final month of my pregnancy and that has been occupying so much of my mind and kind of my, just my inspiration. So I'm definitely going to be sharing with you a lot about that process. And I also had a couple of kind of announcements to make, one of which is that I'm thinking, or the main thing that I wanted to announce or say is that I think that now, starting after this podcast, I'm going to take a little bit of a hiatus or a little break from podcasting, formal kind of sit-down podcasts. I love sharing my making and I love documenting what I'm doing and I love just communicating with others through this platform. It's such a special, thing for me, and I really try to be consistent about uploading twice a month, and mostly I'm able to do that, and I love it. I really, really love kind of that, accountability too, to like, I don't know, from myself, that I always, I have this idea twice a month, every other week, that I upload a video and just share, sit down, and when I commit to something like that in my mind, I really always want to follow through with it. It's really important to me. And so I know that soon I'm not going to be able to do that. It will be really challenging. I mean, technically one could do anything. I don't know how much I'm going to be sewing and knitting and crafting when I have a fresh newborn, but technically I could do it. But I'm going to choose to just take a break, a conscious break, and then return to you when the time is right to come back to regular podcasting. I don't know when that's going to be. I had first thought that I would just go through until the end of my pregnancy and then just take a break for 6 weeks or something, like a maternity leave in that traditional sense. But I'm feeling right now so my life and my mind is so full with preparation and just carrying this little life and preparing to, bring her into the world, that. And also, we've had so many other things going on too right now, which I'll share with you as well. But I feel like I want to give this space as much intentionality and presence as I can. So I thought I would just take a break starting now and for the rest of my pregnancy. And then when the baby comes, I'll just see when the time is right. And hopefully by then I have a few things to share with you, because honestly, I'm not lacking in inspiration and enjoyment in my creative practice in my craft. I'm so enjoying making and knitting and sewing, and I have so much inspiration, and so I hope that I'll come back with quite a bit to share. But yeah, until then, there'll be a break. I am hoping though to record some videos, maybe just documenting parts of my making, or maybe having knit in chats here and there maybe, or I don't know, kind of just sharing with you different parts of my life, because right now we're also going through kind of a big transition, not only bringing a new human being into the world, but also it looks like we're going to be moving house soon, which is so exciting. We have hopefully a new flat that we're going to be moving into in just a couple of months, and so there's a lot of preparation that goes into that too, because my husband Nick and I have been married almost for 5 years. Our anniversary is next week or the week after. I don't even know, but it's very soon. And we've been married 5 years, and before that he lived here. And so our whole life together is in this little flat, and it is going to be a big thing to kind of pack everything up and sort through things and get rid of things. And I'm sorry if you can hear cars and birds and children playing, but I think it's not such a big deal. I have the windows open and the breeze is so lovely that I can't close them. But anyway, yeah, we have to pack up this house and then prepare the new apartment and just get it all set up. And yeah, that's going to be a big task, but I would also really love to document that a little bit. So no promises there. This isn't like a commitment, just kind of a dream of mine I would love to do. I'd love to share that a little bit here and there, but as far as the regular sit-down podcasts go, I'll take a break for a while. And yeah, like I said, when the time is right, I will return. I really am so thankful for you and for those of you who are returning viewers and who watch regularly. It's just so special. I feel like I know some of you through comments and through even through social media and even just seeing your comments, I recognize so many names, and it really like enriches my life so much to be able to have this community and this like place to connect. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a short-term kind of a break, but I wanted to announce it because, yeah, like I said, I really like to be consistent for myself. I just have this like internal clock where I really want to be consistent. If I promise myself something, or if I say I'm going to do something just for myself, I like to follow through as much as I can. And so I need to say out loud and announce that there's going to be a break. But anyway, all that, I will share more after I share with you my making, because I know some people are maybe just here to see those projects. I have a little tiny stack here, but it's a stack that I've been enjoying so much. So I have 2 knitting projects to share, 2 little ones, and then I have like a couple of sewing projects that I'm gonna share with you as well, which is so much fun. So the first thing that I worked on since we last spoke is this little pair of baby socks. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, I have not knit baby or children's socks in such a long time. I feel like you forget how easy and how fast like little socks are. So these are like I think these are called the Perfect Newborn Sock pattern or something. It will be linked in the show notes, of course. But it is really the Perfect Newborn Sock. It's a free sock pattern, I think, on Ravelry. I downloaded this pattern and had it in my library like a long time ago, and I actually wanted to knit socks for friends. Never really got around to it. Now that I feel like I know how quick and easy these are, I definitely want to do it again. Another pair or 10. This is just my first pair, but I really, really love them. They're so cute and so intuitive. The thing though is I knit these for my baby who's on the way, and I mean, you don't know how big a baby's gonna be when they come, but I was thinking they would be really newborn size. I, though, have a pretty loose, like I knit at a pretty loose gauge. And I know that about myself, but I did not adjust the needle size before casting these on, and of course I didn't knit a swatch. Like, this is like a swatch size. This is like even smaller than a swatch. Honestly, it's so little. But I just knit with like a size US 1, which was called for in the pattern. And in addition to that, I knit with bamboo needles, which I feel like I knit looser with wood and bamboo needles. I don't know if that's this is the case for everybody, but I feel like I knit a little bit tighter with metal needles than I do with wooden or bamboo. So yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake, but I'm gonna knit them again on size 0 so that they're really newborn size socks. And I'm gonna give these, because I knit them the foot a little bit longer, I'm gonna give these to a good friend of mine who has a little 6-month-old daughter. And as I was knitting these, I was knitting the second sock and I was with her, and we just tried on the first sock on her little baby, and it fit like a glove. It fit perfect. It fit like a sock, and it was just perfect. So I told her I'd finish them and give them to her, and maybe when she's done, she'll give them back to me, and then the baby can wear them when she's old enough. My baby, but you know, we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. I really love them. And you can fold over the little cuff, which I think is so cute. Is that not adorable? And there are 2 versions in the pattern. There's a ribbed version, and then there's this kind of like mini cabled version, and I did the little cabled version. It's so much fun. Like, these socks are just so cute, and I'm definitely gonna cast on another pair. It's just such an easy project and so fun to take along. I had a couple of times where I accidentally, like, the needles fell out. I took it with me somewhere and it unraveled like half the sock. That happened like twice, so that even just delayed the process, but it was still such a quick knit and such a fun knit. So I'm going to be knitting more of these socks. And honestly, if you've never knit socks before, I feel like this would be an amazing first sock project if you know any babies or anyone's having a baby, because it's such a not huge commitment to knit these. They're so small, it takes such a small amount of yarn, and you also kind of like get the feel for sock construction. You kind of get, you understand sock construction if you've never knit socks before by just knitting this miniature version. So I highly recommend this pattern for first-time sock knitters or people who have kind of been intimidated by socks, think it's a huge commitment, or anything like that, because this would just be perfect for you. And for anyone else who just kind of wants to knit some baby socks, it's so cute. Oh, it's just so adorable. I really, really love this project. That was my little cast on and cast off of the episode, my little finished object. you know, I don't always have finished objects to share, so this was kind of an exception. And then the other project I'm going to share with you is one that has not been here for ages. It's been ages and ages since I picked this up, but it's an old classic piece, an old wonderful slow knitting, complex, gorgeous pattern. And that is, if you've watched before, you might recognize it. That is my Anne of Cleves by Alice Starmore. I think the pattern might have been it might be by Jade Starmore, but it's from Alice Starmore's Tudor Roses book, which is my favorite. I love it. I last year with Elizabeth I, and I just adored it. We had a Tudor Rose knit along last year, which was so much fun, and I loved that project. I love pretty much every single one of the designs in this book, and I think it's kind of like a bucket list like thing for me. I would love to knit every single garment from the Tudor Roses book at some point in my life. I just think they're all so beautiful and so unique and just so cool, and some of them are more, I don't want to say wearable. I think all of them are pretty wearable if you have the right, you know, ensemble for it, kind of. But I think some of them are more like traditional, like off the rack cut. I don't even know what to say. Simple, basic, maybe. And other things are a little bit more extravagant, a little bit more theatrical. And I like both of those things. I like sometimes some theater in my wardrobe, and sometimes I like a little bit of subtlety. And in my knitting, I definitely like a bit of both as well. So yeah, this is the End of Cleves, and I'm knitting this out of Jamieson and Smith chunky yarn in the shade Fuchsia. And this yarn is actually, it's discontinued, which is unfortunate, but I think like a few weeks ago, I was just randomly kind of perusing the Jamieson and Smith website, as you do. You know, I don't know if you also have that, where there are just certain yarn websites. Like, I actually very rarely buy yarn. I really rarely buy yarn. I feel like I have yarn, I try to use it up, and then sometimes if there's a sale, I like stock up a little bit for, you know, sweater quantity of something. But I rarely buy yarn, but I often check websites and just look at colorways and look at yarns and bases and just get inspired. But I was looking at their website and I looked at the sales section again, and they still had this exact yarn, this Jamieson and Smith chunky yarn in the shade Fuchsia, and it's still on sale. It's still amazing. So if you like are into this kind of a thing, which I know this color is probably not everyone's vibe, I love it. I think it's so beautiful and it's so gorgeous, like this chunky yarn. I highly recommend snapping that up if it's still there, because it's just so much fun to knit this project. It's like really, you know, quality because of this gorgeous yarn. 100% wool, of course. And the colorway is just so beautiful. I don't know if you can see, but it has kind of, I don't know how it's going to show up on camera, but it's this beautiful purple, of course. Fuchsia is definitely the right name, but it's got lots of reds, and it's just very warm reds and blues, and it's just absolutely stunning as a colorway. I love it. And I love the way it's spun. Worsted or woolen. I think it's woolen spun. Maybe it's worsted spun. I don't remember. Pregnancy brain, I have no idea what the term is again. But it makes the cables show up in this really subtle way. They kind of aren't like pronounced and very crisp and clean. The way that the yarn is spun makes it so that it's kind of a subtle, beautiful, kind of a blended look. And it's also, the colorway also contributes to that, because the colorway is a little bit darker, and because of that beautiful muddling of colors where it's dyed in the fleece and then spun together. And that makes it also look a little bit more kind of subtle. Like, I just think it looks kind of like it's just been there forever. Like, it's just these patterns are kind of emerging like very subtly out of the stone. Not like some kind of very freshly carved piece of statue. Maybe an ancient sculptural quality to it, if that tells you anything. That's the sense I get from the way it looks, the yarn paired with the cables, because it's this beautiful cable design which is very very kind of architectural and sharp. There are kind of these sharp points in the design, as you can see, and these lines, and just very geometric. There are these cool like curved cables, and it's just really beautiful and really unusual. And I have not seen, like, Alice Starmore and Jade Starmore do cable designs like unlike anyone else. I think I've never seen a designer who does cabling the way they do. They're just both like masters and artists, and there's so many amazing cable designers and so many different approaches to designing cables, and like the possibilities are endless. But I think that they just have such a masterful way of just combining the paneling and everything about it. I really love, and so I'm really enjoying this project. And I've knit quite a lot since I last showed it to you. But in this last week, this last 2 weeks, I've done the majority of the progress, and I'm now decreasing for the underarms, and I think hopefully soon I'll be finished with this whole piece. It might be that I readjusted this to here last time I spoke to you, so it could be that I knit this much, maybe a little bit less, because the last couple weeks, but at least a full repeat or a repeat and a half of the chart, and now it's just looking giant and it's just getting huge, and I'm so excited to have the first piece finished and then to get on to the next piece. I really love it, and I just think it's a stunning design. It's absolutely beautiful, and especially like if you just kind of look at just everything about it, the yarn combination, the pattern, it's just beautiful, and I'm enjoying it so much. And I felt the need for something a little bit more focused. I just wanted something with a little bit more involvement, and this did the job for me. And I think also what I really liked about this pattern, and what I often like about like patterns that are knit in this way, I don't know if it's pieced patterns or if it's like heavily cabled patterns with like a structure like this, which is pretty intuitive, like just being a pieced sweater. But I love the attention it demands from me, because it really, every row I needed to be checking, I need to be reading the chart and knitting off of the chart, but I just know the structure of the garment, and I know the context in which the like design fits, and that makes it so it's really interesting to see the pattern emerge, but I don't have to think too much about the construction. And I really like that, because I'm not a huge fan of having to like figure out a new construction all the time, and lately I've been like doing a lot of projects that require me to learn a new construction, which is also very cool and a lot of fun, and sometimes also what you need. But I wanted the like comfort of knowing the construction with a little bit of interest. So I really have been enjoying this so much, and I can't wait to have the first piece finished. It's a very slow knitting project. I've been doing it, it's been months and months, I think maybe even a year, not a year, I think. It's been months and months that I've been working on this, and just that it's been growing on my needles slow and steady. And it's also, it's chunky yarn, so it's not that it takes ages and ages to grow. I've just been taking my time, stitch by stitch. Sometimes if I'm really kind of slow, right now I'm really slow. I'm just like, everything I'm doing, I'm moving at a pace which is not my usual pace. Like cooking dinner takes like twice as long for me. I'm just moving slowly. My daughter and I, we like go out on a walk. It takes like ages to get to the end of the street and then to get to the forest, and then like everything is just slow moving for me at the moment. And that comes to this too, because I'm just like a little bit tired, and at the end of the day Nick and I sit down and I maybe knit like 2-4 rows of this cable design, but it's so much fun. Like those rows are so much fun because I get a focus on them, and just getting those 4 rows done feels so good, and it's so wonderful, and I can see a little bit of progress, and it just makes me feel so happy. And I'm not getting a product very quickly with that kind of a pace, but I'm really enjoying the process. And one thing I've noticed is that I really like those projects. I mean, I've spoken about this before, and I know other people are similar, but sometimes I just really I'm fine with projects taking like a year to work on, and not like taking a year because I take big breaks from them only, but really that I just work on a couple of rows a day or a few rows a week. And sometimes my time is really limited and I just get 15 minutes, and so I just get 1 row in or something on a complex design. I mean, I don't even think a row would take me 15 minutes with this, but maybe sometimes as I started to get back into the pattern it did take longer. Now I'm more in the rhythm, so it's a little bit quicker. But yeah, I really am okay with it, and I even enjoy it, and I don't have I just have this very long-term mindset with project like this, and I enjoy that so much. And that's where also sewing feels so different. It's so like, it's so cool because sewing isn't as time intensive as something like this. I can imagine even ornate sewing projects and very detailed ones, you're not making the fabric yourself. So it at least cuts out that step, and that makes it maybe a little bit more quick. But I also just think it makes it like, okay, I can just invest in my time in it slowly, and it's like, you know, watching your plants grow. Our little balcony garden is thriving and I'm so happy. I think I've like started to kind of get the hint about how to like handle the water situation, and that is that I've been not heavy-handed, but also not neglectful, because I've had the issue where in the past I get like so into it that like water them every single day. Like water the tomatoes every single day, water the basil every single day, even if it's like not necessary. And I've seen how that affects the plants in past years. And then, or I also have done it where I just kind of forget about them and neglect them, and then like sometimes they kind of survive, but like they also don't do well. I know that you gardeners, there are amazing gardeners who are my friends here in the knitting community, so I feel like this is such a silly thing to say. I'm really such a novice, but I'm starting to get the hint that it's really, you have to also look at them a little bit and just see, okay, how are you doing, friend? How are you doing, little tomato plant? Are you thirsty? Are you not thirsty? And I'm starting to get the hint. So hopefully I haven't jinxed myself by saying that, but I think that it's okay. They're growing and they're thriving, and it's so, but you know, I know right now we haven't gotten tomatoes yet from them. I see a couple of little blossoms and I'm so excited about that, but it's also like, I don't have expectations for there to be like a bushel of tomatoes, you know, next week from these plants. It's like this process, and it's like long-term process, this seasonal process, and I really, really love that waiting and that anticipation and that like little everyday work to, you know, look at them, prune this or that, you know, cut back an herb, kind of enjoy, you know, the herbs that I get to enjoy along the way, and just, yeah, it's an amazing process. So I'm really ranting a lot about this, but it's been so inspiring, and I really loved this slow knitting project, and I have no rush. It really, truly, it's just so much fun to knit a little bit and just watch it grow. And I think that's also like why maybe it's good for me to take a little hiatus from podcasting, because probably it's going to be boring if that's my attitude toward knitting the next couple of months and I'm really slow. Then it might be a little bit boring to show you the same project with like this much progress every couple of weeks. So when I get back into a different groove, that'll be better. But those are my 2 knitting projects I wanted to share with you, and I have now a couple of sewing ones that I wanted to also share. I think I shared this fabric before. I'm not sure if I shared it, like if I showed it, but I've spoken about it, and this is fabric I ordered a couple of months ago, and it was just a little sale that I ordered. I didn't go to the shop. I was like, there wasn't a shop, it was an online shop, and I honestly, it is intimidating to order fabric online because it's really something you want to feel, especially for me, being a newbie. I don't know what like the weight of the fabric means. I don't know what it means if it's telling me like pretty much anything about it. I have no understanding. And if it says like composition of the fibers, I can kind of get a certain sense of it, but even still, I'm such a newbie, I don't even know. It's like not like knitting. Like with yarn, I feel like I have a better sense of, okay, it's spun this way, it's this weight, it's with this material, and then you can read reviews and kind of see what people say about it, or, you know, maybe you've heard other people talking about the yarn, then you can kind of gauge how the yarn's gonna be. But with fabric, I have no idea. So it's always a risk to order online in that kind of state, but I did it, and I'm so excited about the way that this feels, the way that it drapes. I'll show you. So this is the fabric, and it's a beautiful, beautiful fabric. I don't know how it's gonna show up on camera, but it's kind of this beautiful little tiny rose pattern with little green leaves and little yellows, and on a kind of a beige background. I really love it. I think it's so pretty, and it's so natural and so just lovely for this season. It is made up of linen and viscose. I think viscose is the way you say it. In German it's Viskose, and so I think it's viscose. And I really love it. It feels light. It feels though really like nice and robust. It's a little bit crinkled because I think of the linen. I did iron it, but it's been sitting in my little basket for quite a while, so I'll probably have to iron it again before I get to sewing, or cutting out or anything like that. But I really just love this fabric, and I'm excited to sew a little summer dress for my little summer capsule wardrobe with this fabric. I would have started by now, but I'm waiting on a needle for my sewing machine, and it's taking forever to get here. And I'm not really in a rush. Honestly, as you can tell, I could have cut out the pieces by now at least, but I haven't done that. So something I'd love to do this week is cut out the pieces for this dress. Also, the reason I haven't cut out the pieces is because I've been really undecided about what pattern I want to sew. There are two options. The first option being the Bellbird dress that I recently sewed out of this beautiful cotton linen blend, and I really like that dress a lot. But for some reason, I don't know if I want that shape with this pattern. I feel like I want something a little bit more like feminine and like Jane Austen movie-ish for this. And so there's another pattern which I don't remember the name of right now, but it's kind of this really cute feminine, like a little bit puffed sleeve pattern. I will put a picture up of it and put the name on the screen and in the show notes so you can see what I'm talking about. But I really like this design, and I feel like it would be so pretty for late summer once I've had the baby. It's definitely not a pregnancy-friendly dress, but I think it is a nursing-friendly dress because it looks like it kind of ties in the front. So I would really love to sew that up soon with this fabric. We'll see if I do that by the time the baby even arrives. I would be so thrilled if I did accomplish that though, because it's just beautiful, and I would love to get some wear out of it this season. But yeah, that's my first big sewing project. And the second one I have is another thing which I'm so excited about. So we have this big duvet, which is this beautiful kind of tea-stained light beige, I like to call it like I recently thought of this because I want to paint our next bedroom a color which is a little bit like café con leche, like coffee and cream, kind of like milk cafe kind of a color. So like a light brown, like a coffee with milk, you know, like this beautiful like latte kind of a color. Maybe a little bit lighter than that. And in our new room, I would love to paint it with like lime wash paint, which is just a beautiful paint that you can paint a certain technique of, and it just looks really beautiful and organic. And we have this beautiful duvet cover and these pillow cases, which are in that kind of a shade. I think this was called tea stained at the time, but when I bought it, but it has a huge tear in it, our duvet cover. It got this huge rip. It's very worn. We've had it for our whole marriage. I think that this has been like our primary one, you know, we switch it out, but as soon as this dries, I put it back on our bed. So like after I wash it. So it's been pretty worn through the years. And Sagwa, our little cat, loves to sit on our bed and climb up on there and play and jump. And so his little claw had like ripped a little hole, actually quite a few little tiny holes, and one of them ripped really big. And I had thought about mending it. That was what I was going to do. I think I mended a couple of little holes on the duvet, but this big one, I was going to mend it. But I don't know, I was just not feeling the vibe. And so we got a new duvet, which is just duvet cover, which is like a beautiful white one. Very simple, very easy to maintain. And I thought what I want to do is I want to reupholster, kind of like reupholster our bed frame, headboard, because we have like a cloth headboard. And this bed is so beautiful. I love our bed. I love the headboard, but the color has always been not exactly right. It's white, but it's like this kind of a cold white, almost with like a gray undertone. And our room is definitely more of a warm, everything else is like warm. We have warm wood in the room, like all our dressers are like antique dressers that are like dark wood, and everything's just warm. And so this headboard was like a little off because of this gray undertone, just a tiny bit. And you couldn't even see it that much because we had these big pillows, so it wasn't a big deal. But I thought I got inspired watching videos on YouTube of like from home and garden of people's decorating and just different kind of home style things. And I just thought instead of like reupholstering, like really reupholstering the headboard, because I'm so intimidated by that kind of thing, I would just sew, like I'm just gonna cut through that huge rip and like size it kind of, and then just sew a little kind of cover for the headboard. So it's this color. with the big duvet, if that makes sense. I don't know if you're kind of visualizing, but like here's the headboard. I'm just gonna sew cover. So then this thing kind of sits over it. And it's kind of a loose, beautiful, kind of organic tea-stained headboard. And this is the shape of the headboard. It's like this. I think it would just be so beautiful to have this simple kind of cover over it. And then with these big fluffy white duvet and just a little like white quilt on top. It would look so beautiful. So that's a plan I have. I think that's not going to be too difficult of a project, and it's going to make us like make our bed like a new bed. So I'm really excited about that. And like I said, moving house and having a new little flat is just one of the most inspiring things for me right now. I'm a little bit in a nesting mode, and so I'm like nesting, getting things ready for the baby in this space, but also dreaming about the next space and kind of like planning out what I want there, you know, because it's just a chance to freshen up and a chance to like, and I've been feeling in this home, like it was really time for us to like freshen up with the walls, freshen up just a lot of different parts of this, corners of this space, and like with new colors and just, you know, reorganize things. But having a brand new space is like even more luxurious to just dream about. So yeah, those are all my sewing and crafting and knitting things. And yeah, just to catch up with you in general, like I said, this move idea, or, you know, I really hope it happens. It would be so much fun. That's been something we've been dreaming about and just talking about a lot. Also because the space that we would be moving into is bigger. We have a little bit more space. It's not very far from where we are now, but just a little bit of a different part of town, which I really like. I've always liked. And there is like gorgeous architecture there. The buildings are like, a lot of them are out of the, like from the 20s, 30s, kind of like Art Deco style buildings. Just stunning. The one we're gonna move into, hopefully, I feel like I'm saying this and next time I'm gonna have to tell you that it didn't happen. But it's like a newer building, but like from the 90s or something. It's not like an Art Deco building, but right next door there are these like Art Deco buildings with just incredibly intricate carvings in the stone, like Art Deco style. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that is so much fun and so cool. And I've just been dreaming and gathering all these kinds of like ideas and inspiration, looking on like our kind of like local classified website. We don't have like Facebook Marketplace. I know Facebook Marketplace is big in the States. I don't know in other places what the equivalent is, if it's also like Facebook Marketplace, but we have eBay, but it's like eBay Locals, and that's where I love to look and find all kinds of treasures. Oh, it's just so much fun. And there's so many beautiful things that are being kind of given away or sold for very reasonable prices. Yeah, so that is a huge like source of fun for me at the moment. And in addition to that, like I've been so occupied, both Nick and I, because we have been blessed with quite a few kind of big project opportunities the past couple of weeks, and like for me, translation, so translating German texts, mostly video and film texts, to English, and then Nick is doing voiceover. He has a beautiful voice and he's like professional at that, so he does, yeah, he's like a speaker. He like does voiceover for films and for museum tours and for, yeah, commercials, like all kinds of things. That's one thing that he does. And I am doing the translation, and I really love translation. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work because we just had a film that we worked on, which was like a little documentary about this huge art exhibition that happens in the city that we live in. It's one of the biggest art exhibitions in the world, and it happens every 4 or 5 years. And it's happening this year, and it's called the Documenta. And there's a film made about the Documenta too, which happened in the 60s. And I translated all the text, all the like the voiceover text for this documentary from German to English, and it was like a huge job because there were just these complicated, you know, art world terms and ideas, and it was just like it was more than just some kind of a standard translation, but I really enjoyed it. I learned so much through the process of translating that film. It was so much fun, and it really made me excited about the Documenta this year. And I really can't wait to go and look at the art, and it's art from all over the world that comes here to the city, and it just fills up the city with cool, pieces of art and different people from all over the world come to see the art, which is just so much fun. But then there are a couple of other little projects that we have with that, which are going to be taking up a lot of my free time, because mostly when I work when Esmeralda is asleep. So I wake up early in the morning and I work before she wakes up. And then when she's sleeping, like right now, I work during her nap times, which is like a good 2 hours. And then if I have more that I need to do, or we're under a really tight deadline, then I'll work in the evening. And I'll work like after she's in bed. So I have very limited windows. And then sometimes if, you know, we can work things out, then like Nick will take over with her and I'll work if I have like a really tight deadline for translation or something. But mostly I just try to be really efficient and get things done in those time slots. And mostly it works. But right now, oh my gosh, it just feels like so much because, because she's expecting this baby. And like I said, I'm so slow. I'm like moving like, just like so, like a turtle everywhere I go and everything I do. And I'm just so like, my capacity for everything is so limited. I'm so inwardly focused at the moment. Just with my, not even like intentionally, it just happens. I just feel like I'm so focused on this little life. Like all my energy is just focused on growing her. And even in my heart, I just am like really just thinking about, oh, this new baby's gonna come. All that to say, I'm kind of disconnected from everything. So I have to really focus so that I can get these projects done before the baby arrives, and also so that I can just try to kind of really prepare myself mentally for birth. And I had a midwife attended birth with Esmeralda, and I really am so thankful for that. It was such a gift to be able to have that, and just a privilege to be able to have that. I had amazing support in that birth. It was just wonderful. And I know that that's not available to everyone, and in fact I feel like it's pretty rare and hard to find. So I was really just so privileged, and this time around I'm going to be with the same midwives, and I'm just, yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm just preparing for that in my mind and in my heart, anticipating what that's going to be like, that process. Great birth, it's like one of the biggest moments of the human experience of life, I feel like. When we are born, and then, you know, we're born and then we die, and in between it's just our lives. And I don't want to get like existential or anything. I just feel so grateful and so humbled to be in this position right now, to be carrying this life and to be able to experience that with her entrance into the world. We go to this birthing center, which is, I know birthing centers are different all over the world, but it's kind of just like a little apartment or a little house, and here in Germany, and it's basically like just it looks like someone's house inside. It's not like any kind of a medical looking building at all or anything like that. There's just like a big bed in there, and like, you know, a scale, and they have like different things, but it's not really like a medical looking place. But going there and looking at the window right across the street, like the little street of this very, very old neighborhood in our town. I mean, the streets are literally out of the Middle Ages. They're like super narrow, and a lot of the buildings are really that old too. Just right across the street though, there's this like a graveyard, and so it's so incredible to see just like this place where a lot of babies are welcomed into the world in this little birthing center. And then right across the street there's this like graveyard where people are, you know, we say goodbye to life there. And I don't know, like I said, I'm getting too existential, it's getting crazy, but I always am so kind of humbled and in awe when I get to go there and I'm carrying this baby. And I've been there, and there have been, you know, funerals going on, and seeing family members, you know, say goodbye to their loved ones. It's just it puts things in such a unique, beautiful perspective. So I just feel so privileged to be in the position I am in right now, and so excited. And it's just kind of like I'm just focusing on this big project right now. Anyway, I'm not going to chat anymore. I've said so much. I've talked so much, and I'm hoping that I see you again. Maybe I'll share a little bit of an update here and there. Maybe I really want to share kind of my little capsule wardrobe, not in a podcast setting, but maybe just like a little video I'd share with you. And other than that, I will come back with the Merryweather Knitting podcast though soon. I still would always love to hear from you. if I don't get back to anyone. I'm so sorry. I'm very, like I said, very slow and so like detached from social media, even though I really love it and I check in. And I love checking in. I'm so like detached from it at the moment. So I'm so sorry about that. But always know that I love reading and hearing from you, and I'll get back with you any way I can. Oh, I'm wearing my Butterfly and Brambles little top today, which miraculously still fits. It's crazy to like, I mean, it's huge, like negative ease, and so it's nice and stretchy. I don't think I'm stretching it out even or anything, and I can, when the belly's gone, I can tuck it in. But I really have loved wearing it. It's so fun, and it kind of just dresses up. Like I'm wearing like black stretchy pants and like a tank top, but this kind of makes me feel like I'm a little dressed up wearing a piece of knitwear. And it's just perfect for warm days like today, which is wonderful. So anyway, I won't keep you any longer. If you would like, you can find me on Instagram. I will link that below, and you can also find me on my website, merryweatherliving.com, where I'll post the show notes and keep you updated, of course. I can't wait to see you again next time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe if you're interested in watching more in the future. I hope you have a wonderful summertime full of happy knitting, or, you know, maybe if it's winter time for you, winter, or any time of the year if you're in the cold season, the warm season, the rainy season, the dry season. I hope you have just a wonderful time with your making and your creative life. I can't wait to hear from you and chat with you soon. Take care. Bye.